Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of GTA Online. Did you know? Today, did you know that you can actually get the Oppressor Mk2 as your favorite bike in GTA Online? And this gives you some really awesome benefits. And in this video, I want to show you guys how you can actually get your bike to become your favorite one and what some of those benefits are. Now, if you're like me, you probably have a different bike, maybe that you don't want, as your favorite bike. The way to find that out, hit start, go to stats, and then go to vehicle. It's like the third or fourth line. It says favorite bike. Now, the problem here is that because this mechanic has been in the game since the Bikers DLC, odds are you have a bike with a lot more hours as your favorite bike. Because that's actually how the mechanic is determined. It's determined by how many hours you have on a bike, and the bike with the most hours, that's the one that's your favorite. For me, it was the Mk2 drag, and I will let you guys know, selling your favorite bike doesn't do anything. I sold mine, and when I go to stats and then vehicles, you can see it still says favorite bike, Mk2 drag. Now, the other important thing to note here is the time driven on a motorcycle. So you can see when we go into the stats here and we go back down to vehicles, it says time riding motorcycles. It was at a certain amount. Now, when we just AFK here and don't move, that time doesn't actually move. But if we just go in a simple circle by pushing the left stick left or right, and then we check back, that time ridden on motorcycles actually has increased by like 10 seconds. So I'm pretty sure that in order to get this to all work, you have to be moving your bike. So if you are going to be AFKing, you're probably going to need some sort of rubber band to put on your controller. But basically, that's what we're going to do. I'm in an invite-only session. You, I think, can do this in a mission if you don't want to pay the daily fees. Do not, under any circumstance, do this while as an MC or a CEO, because if you do, you'll be paying freaking like $40,000, $50,000 in fees, where if you're just doing this straight up, you only pay like a couple of thousand, which isn't too bad. But I believe this does work in missions if you don't want to pay any fees. But what we're doing, I did it at the airport because I figured the airport, you're in a big open area. So if anything does happen, we're not going to be doing anything too crazy. But all I did was put a rubber band around my left stick on the controller, and let it go. And then I left it overnight. So for about, I don't know, 10-ish hours. And I come back and I was actually running into a plane, as you can see. So again, that's why we did it at the airport, because you do sort of drift and you're not going to really fall off the bike, but in the airport, at least you don't have as many things to run into. But when we go to the vehicle stats, our new favorite bike is now the Oppressor Mk2, and the time ridden was actually increased by a ton because we did it all night. But it was as simple as that. Now, depending on how much you've driven the favorite bike that you already had, it's going to determine, or that's going to determine whether or not you got to do this over one night or 2 nights or 3 nights. For me, just doing it over one night, obviously, as you saw, it worked. But I know some people, if they had a bike that they drove on for like 2 days or something, you know, you're going to have to AFK your bike on the Oppressor Mk2 for quite a while until it becomes your new favorite bike. But once you get your new favorite bike, you can see when you call it in the interaction menu, it actually says, call your favorite bike for some benefits. And let's talk about those benefits. The main one being that when you're riding on your favorite bike, your health will actually replenish all the way up to 100. Normally in GTA Online, your health only gets to 50%, but on your favorite bike, it'll go to the maximum amount. So I'm gonna light myself on fire here, and you can see it only actually gets me up to 50% when I'm not on the bike. And this applies to anything. If you're in a car, if you're in anything else, you're only ever going to heal to 50% unless you eat some snacks or something to get up to 100. But when we have 50% health and we get on the bike, it actually gets us all the way to 100%. And that is one of the most useful features in the game. I'll show an example here in a second, but you actually get a couple of other benefits when you're riding on your favorite bike. So the way the game sees your favorite bike, the bonus at least, it's essentially like you're riding around with Bull Shark testosterone constantly activated. And what this actually does is decrease the damage a little bit that weapons do to you. So just an example, the Combat MG normally does 32 damage per shot, but when you're on your favorite bike, it's only going to do 22 damage. So instead of taking 8 shots to kill you, it's going to take 11 if you're on your favorite bike. Now, before I show you guys the example, I do just want to quickly let you guys know that you don't actually need to be in an MC or a CEO to get this feature. You could just call the bike and then you can get on it and it'll get your health to 100. So you can actually do this while as a CEO, which is kind of nice. But if you are on your bike as a CEO or an MC and then you disband in it, for whatever reason, that stops the health regeneration until you get off and then get back on. Kind of weird, I know, but that's what happened to me. And I just had to get off the bike and it fixed it. But here's the example that I wanted to show you guys. So over the weekend, I was making a money video, a money guide. If you didn't check that out, I highly recommend it because it's a really good guide on how to make a lot of money in GTA Online. And one of the missions involved playing the Headhunter CEO work. Now, when doing this, it's relatively easy, but sometimes we all know the NPCs, they have like lock on aim and they'll hit you and they'll do a lot of damage sometimes. Actually, I died a few times when I was doing this because I was on the Oppressor Mk2. You don't have any armor really. And it was kind of annoying when I died and then I had to get my bike and then get back on it. And it would just be better if I didn't die, right? And that's where this comes into play. So the reason I would die is because the first target, let's say, the dude shot me down to 50% health. Well, for the next 3 targets, I only have 50% health to use to battle these guys. And if I just get shot like twice, then I'm gonna die. But since I'm on my favorite bike, I actually, in between those things, replenish to 100% health. So now I am less likely to die, and I'm probably not gonna die because I have a lot more health. And I know this kind of makes this vehicle even more overpowered, but this is just an awesome feature for really NPCs or battling against NPCs. I don't think this is going to matter that much against other people because odds are not many people are going to shoot you on your bike. If anything, you're going to get blown up by a missile, which the favorite bike thing has no effect on that. So I don't think it's that big of a deal for other players, but for battling NPCs and doing missions, that this favorite bike mechanic is just amazing. But anyway, hopefully this Did You Know episode helped you guys out and gave you something that you can try and get in GTA Online. One final thing I do just want to clarify, because when you get inside of the Terabyte and you use the player scanner, on that player scanner, you'll see there's a section that says favorite vehicle. The favorite vehicle is actually not the same as the favorite bike. The favorite vehicle, that was only added with the After Hours DLC, so that's only been tracking since the After Hours DLC. So that's why it may be like a card maybe you've only used a few times, but if you use it a few times more than any other thing since the Nightclub DLC, then it's going to be your favorite vehicle. That actually doesn't give any sort of bonus. That's just a random stat. But I did just want to clear that up because I know some people were a little confused on what's the favorite vehicle and then favorite bike. But like I said, thank you all for watching. Please drop the video a like if you did enjoy. Hit that bell so you get a notification when I do upload a new GTA video. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next one.